Hello and welcome. I'm Tristan, and today's story is Snow White in B1 English. Famous stories are an excellent way to learn English. This is an old story from Germany. In a castle lives a girl who is so beautiful. But a new stepmother arrives. And the stepmother becomes very jealous of her. Let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a kind queen. One snowy day, the queen sewed next to the window. She hurt her finger on her needle. "Ow!" she said. She put her hand outside, and 3 drops of blood fell onto the snow. At that moment, she thought, "I want a daughter with skin white as snow, lips red as blood, and hair black as night." Suddenly, a cold wind blew. She shivered. Some months later, the queen had a baby girl. The baby looked just like the queen had wished. She named her Snow White. When Snow White was still very young, the queen got sick. Snow White's earliest memories were servants running in and out of her mother's room with worried faces. Soon the queen died. All Snow White had to remember her mother by was a necklace with a locket that held her picture. A year later, the king married again. He wanted Snow White to have a mother. His new wife was very beautiful, but she was not kind. In fact, she was vain and cruel. The new queen had a magic mirror in her bedroom that could talk and answer her questions. Every day she asked it, "Mirror, mirror, tell me true. Who's the prettiest of all? Who?" And the mirror always said, "You, my queen, are the prettiest of them all." This made the queen happy because the mirror always told the truth. As Snow White got older, she became more and more beautiful. One day, the queen saw Snow White playing hide and seek with the other children in the palace. The grown-ups laughed, and the other children gave Snow White flowers. The queen didn't understand why everyone loved the young princess but feared her. Over time, the queen became jealous of Snow White. As Snow White got older, the queen asked her magic mirror more often, "Mirror, mirror, tell me true. Who's the prettiest of all? Who?" But one day, the mirror said, "Queen, you are very pretty, it's true, but Snow White is prettier than you." The queen's fists clenched with anger. "The girl must go," she thought. "If she stays, everyone will love her more than me." The queen thought of ways to hurt Snow White. That night, she lay in a bath of milk and read a book of evil spells. She thought, "Which spell should I use on Snow White?" The queen remembered her own mother often telling her she wasn't pretty enough, smart enough, or good enough. Beauty is power, her mother had always said. Without it, you're nothing. As Snow White grew older, she became truly stunning. The queen hated her more every day. Finally, she made an evil plan. The queen called her best huntsman to her room. Take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring me her heart. That afternoon, the huntsman asked Snow White, My princess, the baby deer are learning to walk today. Would you like to see them? Oh yes, I've always dreamed of seeing baby deer, she said, putting her hands on her heart. That afternoon, they both walked deep into the forest. Snow White enjoyed being outside the castle. She gathered flowers and sang to the birds. What pretty flowers, she said happily. I'll give them to the queen when we get home. The huntsman said nothing. As they walked farther into the forest, Snow White noticed the huntsman's silence. Is something wrong? She asked. There were tears in his eyes. Then he looked away from her. Snow White was nervous, but tried not to think about it. He's always been kind to me, she thought. I shouldn't fear. Why are we going so far? She asked. The huntsman stopped walking. He took out his knife with shaking hands. Snow White's heart beat very fast. What's wrong? She asked him. The huntsman fell to his knees. He cried, The queen told me to kill you, but I cannot do it. My princess, you are too kind and too good. Please don't kill me, she begged. I'll run away and never come back. Run as far as you can, he said. The forest can protect you better than I. She ran into the thick forest. She ran until her legs hurt. She had never felt so alone and scared. Strange sounds came from every direction. Wolves howled. She ran faster, but didn't know where to go. Meanwhile, the huntsman killed a deer and brought its heart to the queen. The queen was satisfied, thinking Snow White was dead. Quick note, the transcript of this story is free on my website, and other longer classics like Romeo and Juliet and Peter Pan are all on my app. Snow White kept running. The forest got darker and the moon was full. She huddled under a large tree. Every sound made her jump. Tears filled her eyes. She held her mother's necklace close and thought, Mother, I wish you were here to guide me. Through the fog, she saw a small cottage. Maybe someone can help me, she hoped. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. Quietly, she entered the cottage. Inside, it smelled of fresh bread and pine. The fire was welcoming. Everything in the house was very small. There were 7 little beds, 7 little chairs, and 7 little plates on the table. Snow White explored the house. She was careful not to break anything. She was hungry, so she ate a little food from each plate and drank a little from each cup. Then she slept across 3 of the beds. Later that night, the front door opened. The people who lived there came home. They were 7 little dwarves who worked in the mountains. When they saw Snow White asleep, they jumped in fright. "Shh, don't wake her," said the first dwarf. "Who is she?" asked the second dwarf. "She doesn't look like she's from this forest," said a third. They let her sleep longer and slept on the floor themselves. When Snow White finally woke up, the dwarves were circled around her. They looked at her with curiosity. Snow White screamed in fright. The dwarves screamed too. "I'm sorry for coming into your house," she said. "I didn't know where else to go." There was fear in her voice and scratches on her legs. "What happened to you?" asked the first dwarf, concerned. She told them her tragic story while they gave her breakfast and warm milk. "Please, can I stay here?" she asked. "I'll cook and clean. I haven't done these things before, but I'll learn very quickly." Moved by her story, the dwarves all agreed. "You can stay, princess," they said, "but be careful. There is a witch in these forests. She has many disguises. Do not let anyone into the house when we're not here." Every day, Snow White cooked and cleaned while the dwarves worked in the mountains. As time passed, they became more like a family. Every morning, she gave them all pretty lunch boxes and hugged them as they left for work. Often, the dwarves left her gifts and flowers. Snow White's love transformed not just the cottage, but the dwarves themselves. Soon, she felt more at home there than she ever did at the castle. Back at the castle, the queen asked the mirror her favorite question. "Mirror, mirror, tell me true. Who's the prettiest of all? Who?" Once again, the mirror answered, "You are pretty, my queen, it's true. But Snow White beyond the mountains, with the 7 dwarves, is still prettier than you." The queen's face turned purple with anger. She threw her crown across the room, breaking a window. Her guards were too scared to move or speak. The huntsman tricked me, she shouted. Bring me his head, now! The guards ran out the room and searched for the huntsman, but he'd already left the kingdom, never to be seen again. I'll destroy Snow White myself, said the queen. Then she went to her secret laboratory in the deepest part of the castle. It was time to put an end to Snow White once and for all. In her secret laboratory were bubbling potions and jars with creepy things inside, eyes, teeth, and colourful powders. The queen spoke spells and threw ingredients into a big pot. She worked late into the night, her eyes red and wild. Finally, her potion was ready. This will change how I look, she whispered. She drank the potion. It was thick and bitter. She felt sick and her bones hurt. Her hands became old and wrinkly. She looked in the mirror, and an old woman stared back at her. Her black hair was now grey. Her smooth skin was now rough. She smiled, showing crooked teeth. The queen had disguised herself as an old woman. Look how clever I am, she said. She put on an old dress and a big hood to hide her face. Tomorrow, Snow White will be gone forever. So, will the queen find Snow White? We will find out in the second half in the next podcast. The transcript is free in the link. Thank you so much for joining me today, and well done for practicing your English. This story took a long time to write and record, so a 5-star rating would be deeply appreciated. Okay, have a great week and see you next time. Take care. Can you understand this podcast, but speaking is still difficult? Try my app, Coffee Chat English. Link is in the notes.